Hello everyone, happy Sunday. Hope you guys had a spectacular weekend. In today's video, we're going to take a look at how much higher this pump can go. All right, take it easy, Arnold Schwarzenegger. We're going to take a look at the stock market. We're going to take a look at the equities market, the bonds. We're going to take a look at the overall weekly news, the macroeconomic news this week, and how much higher this pump can go. All right, so without further ado, let's get started with the video. All right, number one. This week shouldn't really be too bad in terms of swings. Overnight, things should be pretty fun. There isn't that much news coming out in the pre-market until Wednesday and then on Friday. But Monday, Tuesday, the only things we have to take a look out for is at 10 a.m. on Monday and Tuesday. We have important news coming out. So generally, we don't want to hold anything over during that time. So at 10 a.m., we don't want to really hold any position because it becomes a bit of a gamble, right? Then Wednesday at 8:15 a.m. we have major news, and then Wednesday at 10 a.m. we have major news. Thursday at 8:30 a.m. unemployment claims. It's not really always a huge marker, but then Friday we have a lot of news coming out pre-market. So there's that. There's not really that much to look at for the news. It's just important to have that, and always look at that in the mornings. You could go to forexfactory.com. You can literally see all of this completely for free. And every morning it's good to check so that you're not sidelined. You don't want to get caught sidelined in a position in the morning and then randomly at 9:45 a.m. or at 10 a.m. some news comes out and you lose 50% of your position because it shoots in the opposite direction. All right, so there's that. All right, next what I want to take a look at is the Commodity Trader Advisors numbers, essentially. So that's what CTA means. All right, this is for the month of April. Okay, so this shows the buying power that these CTAs will have and they will put into the S&P, okay? So on a flat tape, meaning if the market is flat, during the first, all right, so, I'm sorry. For the first week of April, right, these are the numbers and we're gonna take a look. So for a flat tape, right, if the market, because tomorrow is basically the first week of April, right? If it's flat, they have $64 billion to buy, right? If it's continuing to go up, they have almost $80 billion to buy. So that means that the market is going to still have a lot of potential to continue moving upwards, right? And then in a down tape, if the market is falling, they're still going to be buying $14 billion worth. And basically this is showing that this first week of April can be very, very big. Many people are expecting this to continue fall. Many people are expecting this to fall. All right, but according to these numbers, the global CTA numbers, this is showing that this week is going to continue. We can continue moving up, and it just makes sense from a technical standpoint. Many people thought that we were very bearish. I thought. I mean, it didn't really make sense for us to continue going up. Obviously, we know that we were rising on a low volume, right? This was a low volume pump so far. But now with this news of how much money they're going to be positioning themselves on for April, that is not really the case anymore for a move downwards. All right, so it makes sense. Many people just became bearish. A lot of people are starting to become more bearish, and it makes sense to like rip them up and cause them more pain for the next few days. And that's essentially what I think is going to end up happening over the first week, right? So based off of this, we can see that for the month. So here's the thing. So you can see that for the month on a flat tape, it's 113 billion compared to almost 64 billion. So in 1 week, it would go almost 50%. Over 50% of how much money they're willing to put into the market for the month, which means that this first week is basically going to have the most aggressive, vigorous buying pressure to the upside. So this first week, that's when we have the most upside potential on the market. I hope that makes sense, because if you have $113 billion over the course of the entire month, but during the first week, which is 1/4, you have 64 billion, which is more than 50%. That means that a lot of buying pressure is going to be continued to the upside. during this week. So I would expect something basically to fizzle out towards the end of the week, but you know, like a lot of this, just regardless, this whole week you have to be bullish in my opinion due to this, unless we get like major breaks down below or something like that, some news comes out. But just based off of this buying pressure, this is one important thing to look at. And over the month, you can see that the same concept is with an up tape. If it's continuing to move up for the rest of the month, during the first week on an up tape, you're $80 billion, right? But then over the month, it's 162 billion. So you're putting 50% of your money in the first week for a continuation. So yeah, that's very important to take a look at. And yeah, I hope that makes sense. The next thing that we have to take a look at is the seasonality chart for the S&P over the past 20 years. And what do you know? The beginning of April is very, very bullish. And April is a very, very bullish month. So it makes sense. Both of those two things coincide pretty well. And it looks like the beginning of April is definitely, it should be bullish based off of seasonality and the buying pressure that is going to continue in the market due to the CTAs. All right, so next, what I want to take a look at with you guys is the different sectors in the S&P. And since we're going to have to take a look at like how bullish the market is for April is usually like one of the best months for the market. I want to take a look at the different sectors so that we can target which stocks and sectors we should be focusing on. So obviously, number one, for the past month, you could see that this is performance for the technology sector. Obviously, the tech sector is doing really well. Obviously, that's going to continue doing well. But the other sectors that I'm trying to take a look at here are the consumer staples. For example, your Walmarts, Targets, anything, Best Buy, things like that. Basically, like storefront companies where people can go in and shop. And communication services are also going to be very important. And you can see that communication services, the highest weighted companies are Facebook and Google. So obviously that's tied into the technology sector as well. So basically, you know, the other one is Amazon, and Tesla is heavily weighted in the consumer discretionary. But basically, consumer staples and the technology sector would be the two things that you would want to look to be long in. And for example, you could see Target, you could see HD, Walmart. Walmart's doing really well. Costco. These stocks are underperforming compared to the tech sector, right? You could look at the NASDAQ. Obviously, the NASDAQ is skyrocketing. Apple, Nvidia, all of these stocks, Microsoft, are doing really, really well. But the stocks that have to play catch up are these Targets, the HDs, Ford, even like different stocks like this. And the other sector that I wanted to take a look at was the energy sector. But I'm not entirely sure if it makes sense to be extremely long the energy sector at the moment, only because there was a lot of news that just recently came out about how internationally all of these countries are starting to cut oil production. So with that news already baked in, I'm not sure if that's going to be a great opportunity to start going heavy long on the energy sector. But for sure, April is a really, really good month. And those are the different types of stocks that I'm going to be looking at. You can take a look at the SPY. Obviously, any sort of dip buying opportunity is going to be good, in my opinion, especially for this week, like for the beginning of the week, heading into the second week, et cetera, et cetera. It's tough. It's going to be tough to be bearish during this time. And with a close above the 22.6, we have major resistance at 412. This is a very, very major resistance level, but you know, like this can easily get broken this week. 412 can easily get broken this week. We could see 414, 415, but then it's just a matter of how high we could go until we get a bit of a pullback and a continuation to the upside. In general, it would make sense on these pullbacks to buy the dip and lean long. So I hope that makes sense. I hope I helped. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, do all that good stuff. And I will see you guys bright and early tomorrow morning. We live stream, we live trade every day. And thank you guys for your love and support. Have a good one.